Welcome to the SIMporium. In this video, as we take the GT4 cars in ACC out for a spin, I'm going to talk about Nvidia's RTX Voice and just demo in real world use how magical it is. And perhaps more interestingly to most of you, I'm going to talk about my VR settings and explain just how you can get ACC actually looking pretty darn good and running not too bad at the same time. So let's get on track and crack on. Okay, got 15 cars on track. I've started myself 7th in the middle. I'm in the Maserati and we're at Brands Hatch. So, I'm only doing a quick 5-minute race. And the first thing we're going to talk about once we get underway is RTX Voice. I've only recently learned about it and can't believe how amazing it is. And it's great for content creators, simmers, especially with motion platforms and noisy things going on. Big stutter there. And then I'll talk about my VR settings and the performance. Don't get me wrong, it's not ideal in any way, but it's playable. It does look good generally, but there are some issues. So right, let's talk about RTX Voice. RTX Voice is an amazing free bit of software, tiny little program you install from Nvidia if you've got an RTX card. I have been told it can work on non-RTX cards, but I don't know if that's true or not. Whoa! I mean, this just sounds awesome, this car. This is literally my first drive in the GT4 pack. Anyway, so RTX, what it does is basically uses some wizardry, some AI, to get rid of background noise. Forget your filters and whatnot in OBS. I'm using no filters in OBS. This is just RTX Voice running using my Snowball mic. And what you don't realise right now is I've got quite a noisy fan on top of the screen pointing down at my bald head to keep me cool in VR. There's a lot of stutters and freezing going on. Yeah, so I've got that fan, and then I've got a big tower fan underneath the TV pointing back at me to keep me cool, because it's quite warm in here tonight. So they're not quiet by any means. And then obviously you've got the motion rig, and while the V3 motion platform is one of the quieter ones, or supposedly the quietest motion system, it's not quiet by any means. On top of that, you got my Darth Vader breathing, which on many a video I've painstakingly edited out. But so there's a lot of noise going on, but I can be heard quite well, right? I'm quite clear, and you can't hear everything else going on. Also, my computer working away over there is quite loud, all its fans and whatnot going on. So there's a lot of noise in here, and while I'm sure you can hear the motion platform some, it's nowhere near as loud as it should be. And to demo that in a moment, I'll turn off RTX Voice. It's one click on and off. There's nothing to set up. Nothing at all to set up. And you'll see the difference. Let's get on the start finish, and I'm going to turn off RTX Voice. It's quite amazing. As is this car. So I'm going to do a pause on the straight. Right, we've paused it there. Right, now, on the fly, let me turn off RTX Voice. There is a fan, as I say, pointing right down. So here we go, turning it off. You tell me that's not different. I mean, I can see on OBS it's picking up the fan. But let's get driving. Listen for the motion rig. And there's going to be people with a lot noisier things than me. But still, it's going to have no issues. I mean, there's examples of it on YouTube, people cancelling out vacuum cleaners and whatnot. Ignore my driving. My driving's, while I'm talking, is not ideal for me. This car just sounds phenomenal. So yeah, let me know in the comments, please. I'm just curious. To me, the sound difference is quite vast. I listened to the video back.
Come on, Adja. Nicely done.
I think it's amazing.
E5.
It's only a 5-minute race. That's over very quickly. Right, so this race is about to end. I'll jump into another quick one, and we'll talk about VR settings, what I'm using, where you can get what you need for it. It's just two simple little files. Takes you just a moment. Very easy to do. And I'll talk about the results you get. So while I'm driving the GT4, and this is awesome, this isn't a review, because there's plenty of them. Plenty of them who can do a better job than me, I'll be quite honest about that. This is awesome though, this car. So right, let's jump out of this race. Okay, we're on track at the Nürburgring. Obviously RTX Voice is back on. 15 opponents, some in the middle again at 7th. Now I'm in the McLaren here. Give this a little go. I don't know why I keep trying to use the clutch. There is no clutch.
Low tire pressure, stay away from curbs.
So, let's talk about graphics here. Now, obviously the first thing to mention is I'm running OBS. That is a bit of a hit. RTX Voice, although it uses the graphics card, it isn't a hit at all, really. It's amazing. But we all know ACC does not perform well at the best of times. And in VR, it's pretty darn terrible. So what have I done to get it pretty good? I've fiddled loads, as has everyone. I've got the AI a bit low here, I guess.
Still there.
But here what I've settled on is using a custom setup
Clear left.
from a guy
Left
who
side,
posted a couple of files on the ACC forums. Now I'm going to put the link in the description below. A guy named Bullet800, and it's just two files, tiny files, an engine ini and a JSON file which he's called Best VR. Let's move my seat down a bit. And you just copy them into the relevant folder. Again, I'll explain where they go.
Rotate.
And it obviously changes a few settings, bits and bobs, being the ini file. But what you do is you go into game, into the settings, manage custom video settings, and choose Best VR, the JSON file. And you can just leave it like that, but there's a couple of other maybe tweaks you want to do. One is you'll see, what am I doing? What am I doing? That's randomly changing up through the gears. The frame rate is capped at 81. I guess it was someone using an 80 Hz headset. So I just put it up to 91 because I'm on a 90 Hz. And not that you'll ever get there. I'm actually not paying any attention to my driving, am I? Let's get back on track, quite literally. So the only two changes I made was one, after selecting that Best VR, is put the frame rate limit up to 91. As I said, not that I'll ever reach it in this game. And two, change the clouds from high, which they are on, to epic. And the only reason I've done that is you get better shadow for the cars being on track, the contact. Anything below epic, the cars often can look like they're a little floaty on track. I mean, to me that's ridiculous. The first shadows that should come on properly on low are those shadows. They are important for immersion, and just it's distracting otherwise and totally breaks immersion for me. So that's it. Ini file, put it in a folder, JSON file, put it in the folder, in game, select custom setting, and you might want to up the clouds and the frame rate cap. Now what does that do? Look at it, and obviously on monitor you get a better view than I do here, crisper. That's always the case, but in here things are clear. In the distance things are clear. This doesn't look like the AC that we all know, the ACC that we all know. This is a different game with these settings. It is crystal clear in here. Now I'm using the Vive Pro, so you know your mileage may vary. Steam super sampling is just at 100%. Now there is another thing I do, and that is turn on motion smoothing. Definitely something I never really want to use. I don't recommend it. In this case, without it, asynchronous projection obviously is permanent, and I hate that. It's horrible. I'm not an advocate of motion smoothing generally. A few slow-paced games, that's fine, but it can add artifacts, and that's why this isn't perfect at all. I'm getting none of those stutters and whatnot I got at Brands Hatch. This is much better. So you can get some ghosting. It's different from reprojection. It looks a lot better to me, but as an example, if there's rain and you're using the wipers, as the wipers move, you can get a slight distortion as the wipers go by. There are some negatives to it. Like if I look at that mirror, I don't know if you're going to see it the same. The mirror's got some, look at the edges of it, some ghosting bits, and that just can happen here and there. In general, it's not happening. It looks pretty good everywhere. But that's allowing this game to run smooth and look great, and it's just so playable in VR. I mean, I got this and haven't played it much. I can feel myself now really wanting to get into this, especially with these cars. This McLaren's awesome. Yeah, of course I've been looking at videos about the GT4 pack, and yeah, I know how good they're all going to be based on everyone's opinions that have a lot more time in them than me. This is my second drive, but it sounds awesome, feels awesome, looks awesome. See, now there in the car in front, I don't know if it shows, but around the right side a bit of ghosting, a bit of shimmering. So that is the drawback, but I'm afraid ACC in VR, maybe when we get 3080 Ti's, we'll be fine, but for now there's compromises. And those people who say, oh, I don't know, I've got everything on the highest it'll go and runs butter smooth, nonsense. Nonsense. I mean, if that's the case, you know, Nvidia want their 3080 Ti back, but no. Some people just talk nonsense. It's not possible. We all know this. Why is he slowing down like that? Perhaps he's making a video. So yeah, that's it really. Waffled on, 2 little short races. RTX Voice, phenomenal. My driving, pretty awful. ACC VR settings, pretty darn good. You know, you can't compare it with Project Cars 2, AMS 2. They're amazing in VR. Their VR performance. That's specifically what I'm talking about. Even the original AC, obviously. Unfortunately. But now, using these settings, it's pretty darn awesome. And yes, I've got a 2080 Ti, so of course that's going to affect things. But give them a go. Absolutely give them a go. And let me know what you think. And if you find anything better, or manage to tweak it and get better results, let me know as well, please. I'd be grateful for that. Right, that'll do it for now. I'll catch you later. Cheers.